gang. I'm sorry, y'all. I did my best. I tried Wi-Fi. I tried putting it on data. I mean, I tried it all. And then the phone battery died too. Y'all, I'm disappointed. I'm more disappointed than y'all are probably. We're gonna see if we can do better. We're gonna see if we can get it figured out. I'm gonna talk to some experts. Y'all deserve the best, and we're gonna bring you the best. Look, I even bought a collared shirt. That's how dedicated I am. I did not show up in my white beater tonight. We love you, Yang Gang. We're gonna get it right.
Hey y'all. Alright, you heard him. Very sorry. It was actually not the equipment this time. It was a Wi-Fi and data issue. There was just nothing we could do about it at that point. Maybe we can look into getting a Wi-Fi hotspot or something that would help with the streaming. So for now, we're going to stick to making the videos and just uploading them like this one. This is the full speech. We start with what we got during the live stream, so the quality of that is still going to be just like it was in the live stream. But the second half of the speech is in there too. Much, much better quality because it was just recorded. So we're putting this together and getting it up right now for you. Tonight, of course, Yang is in the debates. So before the debate, starting at 7:30, if you're on Twitter, start using the hashtags #LetYangSpeak and Return of the Yang. So we're going to be using those two hashtags, get those trending. It's going to be awesome. We're really excited to watch those. So I will probably just be watching them here from home instead of going out anywhere. It's much easier with the little Yang Gang. Russell is actually in Detroit, as you know, and he will be watching them with the Detroit Yang Gang. So that'll be cool. He'll probably get some footage of that, and then he will probably see Andrew Yang again after the debates. All right, shout out new Patreons. Thank y'all so much. And this is what we have right now for this month. This is what we have left, and that's in the donations. Since we started running ads on YouTube about a week ago, I'm gonna say. So we've made about $15 from running ads. So it's not really much, but I guess it helps. It's better than nothing. Okay, so I know this video is not coming out at our normal times, and lately we haven't really been sticking to the schedule that much, but we're gonna try to get back to our Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. schedule. But for the next few days, it's probably just gonna be here and there with bonus videos thrown in because we have a lot of different footage we want to get to y'all. And some of our videos coming up we're really excited about. We still have the phone banking video coming. We're getting that together. We have an interview with Steve Marchand that we're going to be putting out, and a couple other people up in Detroit that we got interviews with. Well, Russell got interviews with. I'm obviously at home. It was just much easier on Lil Yang Gang and financially for me to just stay home on this one. But I will be going to New Hampshire. Well, hopefully we'll all be going to New Hampshire. So we're raising funds for that as well. The donation links are in the description. Sorry, got a little sidetracked. Okay, back to the new content coming out. We also may have the clip of Whoopi Goldberg you may have heard about. We're going to try and see if we can get that video uploaded. And we will also have more videos from Detroit coming and any other footage that we haven't got up yet. All these videos are coming up. Thank y'all for watching. And thank you for donating.
If you bring a wave crashing down on our heads. We are doing it. You are getting and so if you want to help me you, then like vote me into office. Challenge fucking accepted!
Because of you, you get to see the next president of the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Detroit. Let's give it up again for Steve Marchand. Where I go.
Gang Gang?
It's so great. And this morning I went to play some basketball in the YMCA, and what I see is a mad sign right on the lamppost. And I was like, I love the Yang Gang. Everywhere we go. cycle, and he's been one of the key people that's gotten us up to 5% in New Hampshire. There's so many people in New Hampshire who said, if Steve is for Andrew Yang, I need to watch Andrew Yang in action. And so the crowd started getting bigger, and you can see why Steve's such a leader in that state. And here in Michigan, it's phenomenal moving back. I've been coming here every year since 2010. And the first time I came was just as the city was descending into bankruptcy. And there's a lot of extremes in the way Detroit gets depicted in the media. It's either like, oh, it's all awesome, or it's all, the opposite of awesome. But the first time I came to Detroit, that time I was blown away by how rough it was, frankly. We're heading into bankruptcy, and the progress this place has made, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, coming back every single year. And as many of you that have rebuilt this city, shout out to the help make Detroit what it is. It was in rough shape post-bankruptcy. When I came here too, I became friends with a guy named Dan Gilbert, who recently just had a stroke and is now recovering. And if you don't know Dan and his work here in the city, I'm a huge Dan Gilbert fan. I spent time with him and his family. He's a family man, he's a patriot, he's done great things for the city of Detroit. And my time here in Detroit helped influence what brought me to you all running for president. During this cycle, I came to Detroit thinking what this country needs is more entrepreneurs in places like Detroit that would build businesses and generate jobs. And that was completely true. But what I did not realize was that for every job that we were creating as entrepreneurs in Detroit or Cleveland or New Orleans or Birmingham, we were going to get rid of 10 or 100 metro bathrooms that had a giant hole ripped in the bottom, which is a very terrible feeling as an entrepreneur. So pouring water in this bathtub helped create several thousand jobs, including hundreds right here in Detroit. And people are clapping me on the back, everyone's saying, nice job, Andrew, nice job. And I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, this water's going in, and there's like this giant hole in the bathtub, and the water's rushing out. And then Donald Trump became our president in 2016. Now, I know many of you voted for Donald Trump, and it's cool. Meaning, here in Michigan, Michigan went to Donald Trump as a state. And the fact to me that we elected Donald Trump as our president, to me, was this giant red flag, or cry for help, or really just saying this system is not working for us. And so to me, the reaction then should have been digging into the reasons why he won places like Michigan and Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa. And to me, the driving force behind his victory in these states was that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs. 4 million manufacturing jobs. Think about that, that's 4 million families. There's probably something like 16, 20 million people that got affected. Thoughts about what that's meant. I found that the numbers were real. Yeah, someone's yang gang, 0 to 15%. That half of the workers that lost their manufacturing jobs here in Michigan left the workforce and never worked again. And of that group, half filed for disability. Conversation. But this is the reality of what happened here in Detroit and in Ohio and around the Midwest and these manufacturing communities. So I said, okay, this is the central problem. And I went to Washington, D.C., and I asked them, said, hey, what are we going to do about the fact that America is going through the greatest economic transformation in our country's history? And you know what the folks in Washington, D.C. said to me? Fairly connected guys, so I was meeting with very, very senior people. I was meeting with senators, Congress people, very, very serious policymakers. And the number one thing they said, when I said, what are we going to do about this economic transformation, they said, can't talk about it. Number two, they'd say, we should study that. We should look into that. And their response to that was, well, I guess we'll get better at it. And then they just went back to their salad. One of them in D.C. said to me something that stuck with me and brought me here to you all today. He said, Andrew, no one here in Washington, D.C. is going to do anything about this set of problems. Because here in Washington, D.C., we're not a town of leaders, we're a town of followers. And in order for us in Washington, D.C. to do anything about this, you would have to create a wave in other parts of the country and bring that wave crashing down on our heads. And I heard that, and I said, challenge accepted.
Let's go, gang, gang.
For president, I was an anonymous entrepreneur. And we got started, and some of my best friends were like, hey, Andrew, this is a crazy idea. Now, some people who know me really well knew about the founding of Venture for America and said, Andrew, I thought founding Venture was not most of the folks in the public, that was not the people in the press. And so thinking about the progress of 2017 with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Cory Booker and the rest of them, we are this close to make us officially one of the top 10 candidates in the whole race.
That's right.
Already. We raised $100,000 just today because people are so pissed off. So we're gonna have our cake and eat it too. Honestly, because like there are a bunch of polls coming out. As you can tell at this point, we're gonna put up another 2% or more in another qualifying poll probably this week. And so this has actually been probably a win for us. We were joking that maybe the DNC did us a favor. Maybe the DNC's Yang Gang. We're like, you know, help them as if we pretend to stay below the donor threshold. We're about 150,000 donors. And then in the qualified by moneyed interests, it's been taken captive by corporate lobbyists. It's like the clearest feedback that the American people can give is that say, look, this is not working. And then we still can't hear it. We still can't hear the real problems of the American people. We need to actually make an economy that works for us. And it's here in Detroit that I learned just how misshapen our economy has become, how punishing it is to people. You go through neighborhoods and you see all the blasted out buildings in neighborhoods, and you realize that the city of Detroit doesn't have the money to properly demolish those buildings. Talking about tens of thousands of derelict buildings in Detroit city limits. And so to me, are we a country where we're just going to look around and say, well, I guess one of the great American cities now has tens of thousands of derelict buildings and nothing we can do about it? Like, hey, how is it that in a country where we know we need to create work for millions of Americans, and then you come to a place like Detroit and you see all this work that needs to be done, and we can't even bring ourselves to do that work? Like, that to me is like the biggest myth in American life, where you look around and say, we don't have the money. Are you kidding me? It's like, you all remember voting for the $4 trillion bailout in Wall Street?
Nope.
No, none of us remember that. Because none of us voted for it. Do you remember anyone in Washington, D.C. looking around at that point saying, like, where's the money? Where are we going to get the money? Of course not. When it was Wall Street's turn, they said, oh yeah, let's pull that lever and give them the $4 trillion. I say it's time for a bailout for the people. It's time for a bailout of Detroit. Are you with me? That is all about. And when you first heard about my campaign, you heard there's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000. I know the first time you heard it, you were like, this sounds like a gimmick. 1,000 communists endorsed it in the 70s. And one state has had a dividend in effect for almost 40 years. And what state is that?
Alaska.
And how do they fund it?
Oil.
And what is the oil of the 21st century?
Technology.
Technology, that's right. What they're doing for the people in Alaska with oil money, we can do for everyone in the U.S. with technology money. And what I say is, look, Amazon, our biggest company, $1 trillion tech company, paid zero in taxes last year. Think about that for a second. Amazon sucking up $20 million in business every year, closing 30% of stores and malls, and you get zero. And then people are like, hey, where's the money going to come from? Of course you're going to have a hard time paying for things if Amazon's paying zero in taxes. How many of you all paid zero in taxes last year?
Shit.
No one here. And if you did, you'd be too smart to admit to it. I know. No one here. And if you did, you'd be too smart to admit to it. I know. Excellent. We all pay more than zero in taxes. We have to create a system where we're all getting to share in the progress and innovation that's happening in other segments of the economy. I'll take it. Environment of scarcity. We are not, we can be in an environment of abundance like this. It just takes enough of us getting together and saying we are the owners and shareholders of this country, and we can declare it. And you know what they never say? What are the shareholders going to do with the money? You know, they never like, oh, are we sure the shareholders are going to make good decisions with the money? Think about that for a second. It's ridiculous to even suggest that. But what happens in the United States? Give ourselves the money. And people are like, oh, people are going to mess it up. It's like, are you kidding me? It's our money. We're the shareholders of the country. And then if we get this dividend into our hands, we can build a trickle-up economy from our people and our families and our communities up. And I want you to imagine after I'm president in 2021, where would the money actually go in real life? Like, how would you spend it? Car repair. New business, car repairs. Night out. Night out. I like where his head's at. Morgan. Volleyball camp. Sounds like your parents. How many people are parents? Now, imagine being able to look at your son and daughter and say, when you turn 18, you're going to get $1,000 a month from your country because your country loves you, your country values you, and you're an American. And you think your kid's going to have a better attitude? So it's going to go to car repairs, to daycare, to Little League signups. It's going, how much of the money would stay right here in your communities? You'd buy an extra toaster. But most of it would stay right here because that's where most of the money gets spent. It would go into local businesses. It would create jobs right here in your communities. And one of the things I talk about is how we're measuring the economy all wrong. Right now, if you turn on CNBC, what do they tell you? Headline unemployment rate, stock market prices. Each of these numbers is almost intentionally misleading. So GDP's at record highs. What else are at record highs right now? Student debt, drug overdoses, suicides, all at record highs. It's gotten so bad that our life expectancy has declined for the last. Developed countries do not have declining life expectancies for 1 year, let alone 3 years. Y'all know the last time America's life expectancy declined for 3 years? The Spanish flu of 1918. Right, we're in like century-old Spanish flu territory. So I'm going to ask you all, what good is record high GDP if your people are starting to die younger? And something like self-driving trucks will be great for GDP. It's going to be terrible for the 3.5 million Americans who drive a truck for a living. So if you weren't going to use GDP, what would you actually be excited about? How many of you got excited about GDP when you woke up this morning? You're like, I'm going to make a big contribution to GDP. So if GDP is meaningless to you, because it's meaningless to all of us at this point, what would actually be meaningful to you? What would actually get you excited if I were to tell you this got better?
Health.
Average income went up to pay your air and water grab cleaner? Yeah, I'd be happy too as a parent.
Less poverty.
Less poverty.
Better roads.
Better roads.
Cheaper education.
Better education. How our kids are doing.
Better hygiene.
So, what was that?
Better hygiene.
Dental hygiene? Better hygiene? I'll take it, sure. We're cleaner. Why not? Who likes dirty people 100 years ago when we invented it? I like to talk about my wife who's at home with our 2 boys right now, one of whom is autistic. What is her work calculated at in GDP every day? Zero. What is the market value of her work at? Zero. We know that's the opposite of the truth. We know that her work is one of the most challenging and vital for our country's future. Certainly more valuable than the work I was doing as a corporate attorney a number of years ago. And so right now we're measuring the wrong things and we can't make progress. How many of you have run a business or an organization? Imagine if you had the wrong measurements. How would that business or organization do? Measurements in place, we can make real progress. And as president, this is an easy fix. I just go down the upgrade to things that include our health and our mental health and childhood success rates and environmental quality. And this is the new American scorecard. And I will report to you, the American people, every year at the State of the Union, how we're doing on the measurements that matter. I will be the first president to use a PowerPoint at the State of the Union.
What?
Yes, the American president is coming. And the PowerPoint would be unacceptable. It's actually an hour, isn't it? Say an hour. I got it wrong. 8 Americans are dying every hour. That's unacceptable. So here's how we need to get that rate down. We have like the real stats up every year and then see what direction we're heading. That's how organizations make progress. That's how our country needs to make progress.
My battery's
So this is the
9%.
plan. As your president, I will update our measurements to the 21st century. I will lay a new foundation with a freedom dividend, and then I will start solving the real problems on the ground that got Donald Trump into office, and I will start listening to the American people. We can build a trickle-up economy that works for us, but it needs to be coming from us. There is no other way for this to happen. I have been to Washington, D.C., and they will never touch any of these issues. They don't understand them. They make money off of them. They're bought and sold. They don't care. It's true. Like, our leadership is so out of touch. When I go to Washington, D.C., it's like a whole other world there.
Did you know that the Washington, D.C. metro area is now the richest part of the United States? Yeah, it is. Look it up. Think about that. So why are they looking to change anything? They are not looking to change anything. It has to come from us. And that's why this campaign is growing and growing. That's why we've surprised people up to this point. But I'll say that our popularity, there was an analyst who looked at our campaign and said Andrew Yang's polling at 2-3%. He gets mentioned less in the press than every other candidate. His name recognition is lower than every other candidate. And so they looked at these numbers and they said, looking at Andrew's low name recognition and familiarity, there is a very real possibility that as more people find out about him, he grows and grows and grows and wins the whole thing.
Yang gang.
Because like it or not, many of these, that means that they're at a certain place where a lot of them don't have room for growth past a certain point. That the American people have locked-in perceptions of a thing. We're getting people who voted for Donald Trump, and you can go ahead and raise your hand and applaud if that describes you. Yeah, love it. Yeah, love it. Let's give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause. We're getting independents.
Go libertarians.
We're getting conservatives. Conservatives. Try and attack someone who's below them, unless they're being attacked by that person. So we're in this very, very distinct situation where we're not so popular that it makes sense for anyone to attack us, but we're also not in a position where if we don't set the world on fire, then we don't make the fall debates. Because as you can tell, we're going to make the fall debates very, very easily. And so I get a free lane just to make my case to the American people and look like, I hope, the voice of reason on the stage tomorrow night. Because I'm just going to be focused just on trying to solve the problems, and everyone else will be throwing rocks at each other or trying to hit the rocks back. And I'm just going to be standing there being like, oh, and the hope is that I can be like one of you on that stage, reacting like the average American watching it all unfold. And like, how is the average American going to be receiving what they see on the debate stage? Circus. Reality show.
I need a cocktail.
I need a what? I need a cocktail. Oh, you're not alone. Like, this is the reaction most Americans are having. Most Americans are turning on these debates and they're not coming away being like, yes! I'm inspired by both our political process and like, you know, that's not the reaction Americans are having. Certainly not the reaction I'm having, being in the belly of the beast. And so the hope is that I can be the candidate that embodies you all, the people of this country, and can also point out just how messed up and weird our process has become. It's that process that resulted in Donald Trump becoming our president. Because if you turn every election into a reality TV show, guess who wins? A reality TV star. He's actually better at it than most anyone else who's participating. So this is a little bit about where we are as a campaign tonight and tomorrow. I'm going to be watching tonight's debate just like you all. I'll probably be live tweeting it, trying to make big sense of it in a fun way. And then tomorrow we've got essentially an open lane where we'll be the voice of reason, trying to solve the real problems of the American people. I think that's going to serve us very, very well. And most Americans, even after the last debate where I did not get much airtime or speaking time, we still got hundreds of thousands of people onto our website because they turned on the TV and they had the reaction that I've always been talking about, which is, who's the Asian guy standing 2 people away from Joe Biden? Which gives me some joy, and it does give me a lot of pride to be the first Asian American to run for president. It gives me pride to be representing Asian Americans up on that debate stage where they turn, I can imagine just Americans of any background just turning out and being like, oh, interesting, Asian guy I've never heard of, like up there running for president. And then it's like Google that and be like, they probably either Google Andrew Yang or Asian guy running for president. One of those two, they both land in the same place. But it gives me joy to imagine that playing out in living rooms on smartphones around the country, and then people, this is what happened after the last debate. And I did not have much in the way of airtime. So this time, where airtime is going to be much, much bigger and longer. And so we're really, really excited. We're going to get hundreds of thousands. We're at 2 or 3% nationally right now. After I'm the voice of reason tomorrow night, and hundreds of thousands of Americans come check out the Yang Gang and what we're all about, we're just going to see polling numbers rise and rise, make the fall debates. We're just going to continue to pound our message home. And you can see very clearly, as the field constricts, a lot of the energy that was going to many of the other second-tier candidates is going to come right here. You know, because of the folks who were attracted to these other candidates that are then now going to be dropping out, a lot of them are looking for an alternative to the front runners. And guess who's going to be the primary alternative to the front runners in the fall? This guy. So here's the plan, but we could not do it without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Particularly thank you to people who come in from out of town. Raise your hand if you came in from out of town, Yang Gang. Oh, look at this. Let's go around of applause. Russell, everyone's like, all the people, familiar faces. I can't tell you how what a joy it is to come and see people. Like, it doesn't matter where I'm in the country, like, I see familiar faces. I see all the passion and love and support for this movement that we're building. It's incredible. It's invigorating. I can't thank you all enough. And one of the lines that we're going to make sure and get out there tomorrow night is that Donald Trump got some of the problems right, but his solutions were all wrong. And the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes that. Let's make America think harder.
Let's go, Yang Gang!
Thank you, all the best. I love you. I'm going to do some high fives while I take the mic. Hey guys, all right, we're going to do both. Hey, 600 miles. Andy, come back over here. Please don't give up.
What was you are?
All right. So I promised everybody we'll get a photo and a minute with Andrew. So my name is Zach. For those of you who haven't met me, Andrew's campaign manager. Nice to see you. Quick story before we wrap. So for those of you who's come to these before, you maybe heard this story. So when I first started on the campaign, it was just a few of us, and I blew up in the office. I blew up a headline in an article from the New York Times. And I put it on our wall. It said, Andrew Yang is a longer than long shot for the White House in 2020. Yeah, we're going to take that. Okay, sure. And then I put that on the wall and I said to the staff, guys, that's the floor. That's our bar, let's beat it. And then about 6 months later, I put up another headline. It was from our favorite political blog called 538 and Nate Silver. He said, Andrew Yang is a semi-serious contender for the White House in 2020. And then what happened, guys? We hit our first poll. And then we hit 65,000 donors. And then we hit 130,000 donors. And right now, we are officially in 6th place in this race. And we're going to be in the whole...
Let's go, Yang Gang!
There's no more nonsense. We are in this to stay. So campaigns run on 2 things. They run on passion, which everybody's got lots of. And then they run on money, which not everybody has a lot of. But some of you have some. So, a couple of things to know. We are not a traditional campaign in the sense that we have lots of DNC bunglers just itching in line to throw the establishment weight behind our guys. How do we raise money? We raise money through people all over the country. Our average donation is like $26, cheaper than Bernie's, as Andrew loves to joke. But we also raise money for what I call your normal, not bought, rich person, or relatively wealthy person. So some of you maybe reflect that. How does that work? I have a couple friends that maybe have a couple $1,000s we can shake down to help Andrew Yang. We get enough people like that, and you'd be surprised what you can get behind a guy like Andrew Yang. So if you're that person who's like, I have a couple friends that might be able to throw down $1,000 or two, I'm your guy. I will come find you. I know nobody. I'm very nice. And we will help you. We have a whole team to help you do that. So there's 2 reasons to give. And then I'll wrap. Number 1, because it's the best investment you'll ever make. You give me $2,000 or so right now.
and then in 2020 or 2021, you will get $12,000 a year for the rest of your life. So that's what we call the math. That's the math. So don't forget that. But number two is this, guys. I want you to think about it. Think about this. Really picture this, okay? So far, we started this race, and we came out. We had no money, no name recognition, no political experience, no press. Think about that. What you're talking about, a completely anonymous man, who's now in 6th place with the president of the United States. So what I need is oh man, if I give this guy $1,000, dude, if I raise money from what is he going to do with it? Guys, look what we did with no money. Wait till we get some heavy hitters about this guy. We are going to light the world on fire. So we need you guys to think about that. It will be the best investment you ever made. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of all of us on the staff, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, Yang Gang. We love you. So what's going to happen, Andrew? This is a big problem. I have Andrew will meet everyone, is what he does. So much to my pain many times. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a line. It's going to start right here, and it's going to go that way. Okay, and if you're over there, you're like, oh man, I'm in the worst spot. What's up?
Take a couple questions for the...
You want to take Q&A? Okay.
I'll take like a few questions.
Okay, we get a couple questions. Let's start.
Yeah, I'll do a couple of questions before we do the receiving line. Gentlemen, Michael in the Veteran America t-shirt. How you doing, bro? Not a plant. No, we might as well be. Catch the mic, sir.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Hi Andrew, I'm Michael, the 2019 Second for American Fellow. Thank you for all you've done. My question, in some math, there's about 500,000 Detroiters that the freedom dividend was worth $500 million every month. How many? I don't think people realize what that's going to do, how that's going to impact them, and how you sell that vision to people in Detroit, people in all DFA cities and all across America. Training camp ended Friday. I started work yesterday. I'm from Michigan. I went to the University of Michigan, and
Go Wolverines! I'm just So Michael, you'll be happy to know that one of the primary messages for tomorrow night is trying to translate what $1,000 a month would mean in a community like Detroit. And your math is correct, it would be $461 million a month right here in Detroit. Now the reason I know that number is because I'm obviously going to use it tomorrow night, because I'm not like some, nutbar who can do that math in my head like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually try and make it easy for the American people to translate what $1,000 a month would mean in their community. And so when you watch that tomorrow night, that's going to be one of the messages I hit. So you're a very smart man. And it's not a plant. Again, that really did sound like you were just setting me up for tomorrow's debate. This.
Hi, Andrew. Very happy to be here. I voted for Donald Trump last year. I'm here to help you, but I'm very excited to make you run. But I can give a serious question. In addition to, handing out $1,000 to everyone, what kind of specific job opportunities do you think you could create for Americans to, have some jobs to hold on to? Because this $1,000 dividend also give us some of us force feeling that we are not going to have any jobs. So that's a depressing part you need to address to get more people excited. Real jobs. How do you, create more jobs for us? Wait.
So, Wei, your question is shared by many, many people. And I think the biggest misconception about the freedom dividend is that it's somehow going to discourage work. So when people have gotten money in different situations, only two groups that have worked fewer hours: new moms who spend more time with their children, and teenagers who spend more time in school and graduated at higher levels. If you look at a place like Detroit, if you were getting $461 million into everyone's hands, that would create jobs right here in Tech Town in this building. It would create jobs at the local pizzeria area, and we create jobs in the garage, and all of a sudden have people actually repairing their cars. So instead of somehow keeping people from work, it would actually end up creating work in consumer economies, and it would also recognize the kind of work that my wife does in caregiving. I'm now giving $1,000 a month to a guy named Kyle Christensen in Iowa who's caring for his ailing mom who has cancer. And so that kind of work does not get picked up in our economy in a meaningful way. But I could not agree more with the fact that Americans want to work, Americans like to work, and that work is categorically a positive thing for most people. In the absence of work, things actually get very, very dark and very negative very quickly, particularly for men. Women tend to be more adaptable to a lack of work. Women end up doing something positive in their community. They go back to school at higher levels. Men, we volunteer less than employment, even though we have more time. Our video game and computer usage shoots up. Our alcohol consumption goes up. Our gambling consumption goes up. We generally become antisocial and sort of idiotic, and it just proceeds from there. This is surprising no one in this room. Just facts. I mean, this is data. So we need to try and create as many avenues forward for people to find productive jobs as fast as possible. That's actually the essence of my campaign. That's what the Freedom Dividend is about. But I have about half a dozen other proposals that help create work in different ways. So I'm very, very pro-work. It's the single biggest, I think, misconception about the Freedom Dividend.
We got time for one more.
All right, one more. Alvin.
Thank you. So I love your ideas, but I'm also a realist in the sense that our government has mechanisms, particularly in Washington. So if we realize in recent history, Congress is required to implement a lot of policy, and Congress has not been very friendly to progressive type candidates, and even presidents once they're elected. As you can see, Obama had a lot of really good ideas, had a very long time executing them at the federal level. So what can you do to give us confidence that once you're actually elected, you'll be able to implement ideas into policy?
It's a great question, and I think one reason why this campaign is so energizing to folks. How many of you are attending a political event for the first time in your lives? Now then, check that out. 25% of Americans are politically disengaged. That is, they just don't care about politics, don't think it's relevant to them. And this campaign is energizing and exciting that group of people in a very big way. And that's vital not just to us winning, but also to getting things done. So I want you to play out this vision with me, and we can make this vision happen. Andrew Yang, fall debates, like, okay, interesting, because it keeps growing, goes through the entire winter, and then we show up in New Hampshire. And in New Hampshire, we shock the world, because you know what the third party of New Hampshire is? Libertarians.
Wow.
Libertarians all live in New Hampshire. I don't know if you know that about New Hampshire. And New Hampshire's primary is an open primary, so you do not need to be a registered Democrat to vote in that primary. So let's say the Libertarians come out for Yang, a lot of the Republicans come out for Yang, because what's the Republican primary going to look like? It's going to be Donald Trump stomping on William Weld, or something like that. Like if you're a Republican, you're like, there's not much action over there, so let me go for Yang, because I know that'll make a difference. So then, Andrew Yang finishes top 3 in New Hampshire, and then no matter who the other top 2 are, I'm going to be the headline. It's going to be like, how did Andrew Yang get 1, 2, or 3 in New Hampshire? And then we have a whole week of writing those headlines to Nevada, to South Carolina, and then to Super Tuesday, so that I win. And so this is a beautiful vision. And now I want you to imagine my getting to Capitol Hill. The Democrats are so pumped. They were like, we took a bet on Andrew Yang and it worked. We beat Donald Trump. And Andrew Yang wants to give everyone money. That's going to be great for people and families and children. Let's do it. Right? So the Democrats will be on board. But here's the kicker. The Republicans are going to look at this and say, wait a minute. He just wants to give people in rural areas money, in red states money, places that are getting blasted by automation money. And cash is a very hard thing to demonize. If I come and say, hey, I'm going to give you health care, then the Republicans will be like, he wants to take your doctors away, it's going to hurt you. In this one, it'll be like, I want to give you money. And then they're going to be like, the money he's going to give you is going to hurt you. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. And this is a bipartisan idea. Alaska is a deep red conservative state, and they've had a dividend for almost 40 years because the Republican governor who passed it said, look, who would you rather get the oil money, the government who's just going to screw it up, or you, the people of Alaska? And the Alaskan people were like, us. He's like, I thought so. So there are going to be a bunch of Republicans who look at this and say, I like the dividend. The dividend's not big government, it's small government. It's pro-people, it's pro-freedom, it's the freedom dividend. And I don't need 80% of Congress, I just need 16% or 51%. And so you get the Democrats on board, but you get enough of the Republicans on board, and then after we get the money out, then Americans will be like, holy crap, the government did something right for a change. I never thought this would happen, but I got my freedom dividend. Did you get your freedom dividend? Like, what is that about? And then all of a sudden we can shake up the calculus. Because Alvin, you're right. Our government right now is polarized and deadlocked. We can't get anything done. It makes, how many of you are fearful of the fact that our government now is just going to seize up and never be able to solve the big problems? Like all of us, right? You're looking up saying, so it's going to take someone like me to shake things up. Someone who's not ideological, someone who's bipartisan, someone whose big flagship idea is something that people on both sides of the aisle can get excited about. I am one of the best hopes for us actually breaking the gridlock in Washington.
Let's go, Yang Gang.
All right, that's the Yang Gang.
Real quick, how this is actually going to work because I've now been put in my place. So I want you to look at your name tag. If you have a number on it, you're going to go on this wall and line up in order, 1 through whatever number you're in. If you do not have a number, you're going to go on this wall. And we'll do alternating. It'll be great. Lots of math going on, very efficient. That's going to go on, and I'm going to ask, once you get your question, your picture, I'm happy to leave or get out of the way. Okay? Thank you all.
Flying solo, yeah.
Okay, we're going to do it
I also appreciate your wife.
Thank you,
All right, Kate, you're going to go on that side. You're back in line for Dave. All right, I need to be very simple. I want your first 10 to go on. Okay? 1 through 10, you guys are up. We're going to take a picture. Oh, 1 second. No, you got to wait in line. Yeah, no, we got to go. Just picture. Sorry. So, anything you see?
Oh, you bro. Glad you're here.
Yummy, 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 yummy.